So you're setting up your business and you really want to build a social media presence, but there are people at work on your page. Let's have a look at those implications and what you can do about them. First of all, for those of you who might be new to my channel, welcome. I am Rachel and I teach overwhelmed professionals how to move up in their career or to transition out of the 9-to-5 without burnout. So this is a dilemma that many people face, myself included. When I was starting out in this business and I knew that I needed to be on social media because how else are people going to know that you're there? There were times when I would literally be afraid to press the record button because I wasn't sure who was looking, who would hear what I said and it be construed in a different way, or would just report back to managers that I was running a business and whatever would come out of that. This isn't to say that people didn't know that I was running a coaching business outside of my 9-to-5, but I just didn't want it to be a topic of conversation in the office because I didn't know how it would be construed, especially with anything that is happening outside of the 9-to-5 and we see as our personal business. But social media is a necessary evil. If you want people to know that you're here, you have to be on it. And whatever platform you choose, there are going to be people who will know you, who will work with you. And for many of you, it may be stopping you from sharing what you're doing and really own our platform for fear of how it may be construed. And that may be one of the main reasons why many people are reluctant to really take hold of their social media presence because they're not quite sure of the implications for the 9-to-5. So one of the things that they may ask you at your job may be for a declaration of interest or to declare that you have a secondary job. There is no law that says that you need to do this, so it is entirely up to you. However, you do need to check your contract because if it is in your contract that you have to declare it, then you could find yourself in trouble and you don't want that. But when this comes up, the first thing that people say is, why do they need to know my business? So your job wants to know for two main reasons. Number one, is there a conflict of interest? And I spoke about this some time ago when I was working with someone who was a counselor and she was working as a counselor but also wanted to set up her own business. And we really had to look at, is there a conflict of interest? Because what you don't want to do is start working with the same clients that you might be seeing in your 9-to-5. And that's one of the reasons why your job would want to know what is your secondary job. The second reason, and this is where this is the real reason, they want to make sure that whatever you are doing outside, even if, and of course it's going to be in your own time, does not impact on the job that they are paying you to do. If you decide that you're going to take a second job and it means that you're going to be working nights, and so that means that when you come in to do their day job, you're going to be asleep and you're not going to be able to perform at your best, they can have a say as in whether or not you take on that secondary job, whether you need it for income or not. They are your main employer and you need to be very clear about what your contract says. You also want to be very clear that you are not infringing on your company time because they want to know that they have employed you to do a job and they're going to get it done and you're not going to take on something else that's going to impact on what you are required to do for them. So make sure, and I know that you're not going to do this, do not be taking business calls for your business in your company time. If you're on a lunch break, that's fine, but be very clear that it's your lunch break. After work, you do what you have to do. Do not be responding to your business emails when you're supposed to be doing something for your 9-to-5. And this is the reason why a lot of people are very reluctant to share with their job or their colleagues that they have a second job or they're setting up a business on the side, because it can leave you open to more scrutiny than is needed. And a lot of that scrutiny can be unfair. You still want to do your best in your 9-to-5. And for many people, they don't want to have the conversation within their supervision sessions or within their, performance appraisals that goes along the lines of, so tell me, Sandra, how do you think your external interests may have impacted on your work for us this year? No one wants that. And for many of us, and myself included, it stopped me from coming on social media at times when I wasn't sure who was looking. I wasn't sure how things might be interpreted. And I didn't want it to come up in a conversation with my manager at all. So all that to say, make sure you check your contracts with work and make sure that there are no clauses in what you can and cannot say. For example, government workers in the UK may be told that you cannot give an opinion on what's happening in terms of politics when there's an election coming up. I joke about the performance conversations and supervision, but it is a very real thing. If you think that your activities outside of work may be used against you within work, people form deductions based on what they see, whether it's true or not. And for many of us, if you were working in your job, you want to be seen as being focused, you want to be taken seriously, and you also want to be very clear about where your loyalties lie. You're still working in that organization. You still have a responsibility to represent them, and they want to know that you are representing them outside of work as well. And there is, to a degree, that responsibility on all of us, if you are working a 9 to 5, to still maintain that level of respect and representation for the organization that you work with, even if you have sights on doing something else. And what many people are worried about if you are on social media is that your place of organization may start looking at you as someone who no longer wants to represent them. And then they can start deducing things from that. One of the ways that you can get around that is just by having a conversation. If you know that people have gone back and said, oh, Sharon's on social media, have the conversation if you feel it necessary with your manager and put any questions to rest. However, we know that that is only one of the issues when it comes to promoting your business on social media when you are working full time. And one of the main things is time. When you are working a 9 to 5 and you are getting that piece of work done, you have to work your business outside of that, which means that you have to be really strict on your time management. It also depends what platform you decide that you want to be on. For example, if you want to be on YouTube, you need to make sure that you are having, and as with any other channel, but especially with this one, because you want to do long form content, you have to make sure that you are scheduling time to prepare and get your script together in whatever form that is, whether you write it all down or you just have points. You still need to go and make sure that you have down what you need to say. Then you need to schedule the time to film. And then you also need to schedule that time to edit the video. All of that takes time. So that second challenge of working a full-time job and being on social media as being time really needs to be prioritized and scheduled properly. And then the third thing that many people battle with is kind of linked to time, but it's consistency. If you are trying to build a business that may one day surpass your 9 to 5, so that will be your main business and you can say goodbye to the 9 to 5, you have to maintain a level of consistency that will make it happen. Because if you don't, then you're going to build a level of frustration for yourself. The issue with not being consistent, and I've been there as well, is that each time you think, oh, I'm going to start it all back up again, you are literally starting from scratch. The algorithm has to get to know you again. YouTube is going to turn around and look at your channel with, oh, have you started again? Oh, you serious this time? Should I push it out? Let me wait and see. And that can keep you stuck in that same place forever, or for longer than you need to be, thinking that there may be something wrong with your message when there is just something wrong with your consistency. So have your plan and set yourself a minimum of what you will do each week. So if you've decided that you're going to be doing one video a week, make sure that you schedule out and plan your time so that you can get that one video out each week. Do make sure that you keep to that minimum. But one of the most important things that will help you if you want to have a social media presence and you are working a 9 to 5 is here. And everything starts here. Make a decision that this is what you want to do and everything else will fall into place. I remember some time ago when I was still in my 9 to 5 and I went onto LinkedIn and I saw that a director had looked at my profile and I was already speaking about getting out of the 9 to 5 and how to maintain your sanity whilst in some spaces in work. And it was at that point I got that confirmation that, yep, there is nothing to hide. I am going in this direction and I'm going to continue going in that direction. And they've seen everything there is to see. So they might as well see the rest. The most important thing is to make a decision that this is what you want to do. If you're not sure, then you will always go back and forth about who's watching and what are they thinking. And some of those, of course, do have their merit. And like I said, just check your contracts. But the most important thing is just making sure that you are clear on what you want to do and that this is part of your future plan. If you still want more information about what showing up on social media looks like when you are in a 9 to 5, look at my previous video where I looked at the things that you need to do to help you stay consistent. That's it for now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.